Okay, today I want to tell you a little bit about some of the services available to you as a student through our UT Tyler Student Services Department. One of the really great things about being part of the University of Texas system is that we have several initiatives that they've come up with, basically to be a help to all of our students system-wide. Some of those things that they're funding are things like our 24/7 crisis line, as well as our Center for Students in Recovery. They're also funding things related to alcohol initiatives. So our basics program, our alcohol EDU and Haven. If you're a new student, you're going to be seeing Haven, especially. If you're a freshman, you'll also be seeing alcohol EDU. These are required programs for you. We also have our bystander intervention program. At UT Tyler, our bystander intervention program is called Swoop In. Basically, bystander intervention is being able to recognize when there is a potentially harmful situation or interaction and choosing a way to respond that can positively influence the outcome. There are 3 basic action steps to being a positive bystander. 1, we need to recognize when a potentially harmful situation is in front of us. 2, we need to choose to respond and how to respond in an appropriate manner. And 3, we need to take that action, move forward with that. So what can harm look like? How do we recognize that? Harm can look like so many different things. Everything from being in a high-risk drinking situation to violence and sexual assault and bias incidents to things like mental health concerns and suicide prevention. And how do we take action once we're able to recognize things? There are both indirect and direct ways to take action. Some of the direct ways to take actions are things like asking questions, getting clarity, things like, am I seeing this right? How do you feel about that? Creating a distraction. That can be so many different things. A lot of times we think about bystander intervention, we think about jumping in the middle of a fight, stopping a fight or an assault or something like that. That's not the only way that we can take action. Things like that, you can do things like create a distraction. So going up to someone who is maybe intoxicated, or maybe they've been given someone drinks in order to get them drunk and leading them away. Those are times when we can jump in and just say something like, I need to talk to you for a second, pulling them away. Sometimes it's something as easy as maybe spilling a drink on someone. Creating a distraction, any way you can do that is a direct action. That stops the harmful situation. Talking or addressing it directly. These may be situations where you have a friend who you're talking to and it sounds like they're really depressed or anxious. Maybe they're even talking about suicide. Those are times when you need to talk to that person, address it directly. It's okay to ask the question, is someone thinking about hurting themselves? Some indirect ways that you can also take action, getting other people involved. Maybe there's someone else that knows the people in this situation better than you do. They may be the person to get involved in this situation. Obviously, if it's an emergency, calling 911 or our UT Tyler Police Department. There's also electronic reporting options, both for issues related to interpersonal violence, Title IX, as well as students who may have some concerning behaviors. And then following up, making sure that that person is okay, checking in and offering resources. Making sure that that you're following up with that person is really a good way to make sure that we're caring about our fellow UT Tyler. Behavior intervention team is one of those electronic reporting options that I just spoke about. The behavior intervention team is basically a small group of staff members on the UT Tyler campus who is invested in protecting the health safety and welfare of the students at UT Tyler. This is a supportive group, not overwhelming. If you were to file a concern report with the behavior intervention team, the person that you're filing about is not going to find out that you're the one filing this report. We don't call this person in and say, you know, someone filed a report on you. Really, it really is about being supportive, finding those people on campus who may already be a support system for this person and encouraging them to come to counseling if that's one of the things that they need to do. Realize that multiple small concerns can add up to a large concern. Behavior intervention teams nationwide really started after Virginia Tech shootings. What they found in looking back on that is that a lot of people knew little bits of information, but nobody was able to put all the pieces together. That's why we have a behavior intervention team. It really is a place to put all of the small pieces together and to be able to address those with students who might need help, being able to recognize those situations. There is a website that you can go to. If you basically, the student affairs /concerns, you can even go into the search engine on our website and type in behavior intervention or BIT or even concerns, and you'll be able to get to this website. Once you open the concerns report, you can see it's a very simple form. You don't have to worry about making sure that it's perfectly accurate or that you even answer every single one of the questions. Answer what you can. And at that point, then the members of the behavior intervention team will be able to read this report, and someone will follow up with you and make sure that we have all the information that we need and find ways to help this student. We also have our Center for Students in Recovery. Center for Students in Recovery is basically a support system for all students in recovery or even thinking about recovery from any kind of addiction, such as substance addiction or things like gambling addiction or pornography addiction, as well as things like eating disorders and relationship issues. So basically, this is a supportive environment. We have weekly open meetings, and you can find out more information about those meetings by following us on Facebook or going to our website. We also have a student counseling center here on campus. An important thing for you to realize is that counseling is a confidential service. So this is not part of your academic record. This is not something that is shared with your faculty or even your parents or other family members. No one can find out that you came to the Student Counseling Center unless you sign a release. So you can feel pretty confident in coming in that this is going to be a confidential service for you. We're staffed by licensed professional counselors, and at this time we don't have session limits, so we're really able to work with students as much as we possibly can. It's a service that is free for students. You've already kind of paid for it with your student service fees, and this is a service that out in the community could run you $100 an hour or more. We also have consultation options, so maybe you're concerned about someone else, a friend or a family member, and you're really not sure, how do I approach this? How do I help in this situation? You can make an appointment with licensed professionals and discuss that, and we're happy to sit down and talk with you about any of those things. Some of our main areas of focus are things like personal issues such as stress and relationship issues, as well as academic issues, so study skills, time management, and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, trauma situations. Those are all things that our licensed professionals are trained in. And as I said before, we have a 24/7 crisis hotline. The number is 903-566-7254. During the day, that number will be answered by one of our staff members, and we'll be able to connect you with either making an appointment or coming in immediately to see a counselor. After hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on holidays, you'll be able to call this number as a crisis hotline and talk to a mental health professional. Another service in our department is student accessibility and resources. Basically, this is services for anyone that has any type of disability, whether that's a learning difference, ADHD is a very common one, or physical accommodations. So any student who has a disability can receive accommodations through our office. This also is a confidential service in that faculty are going to receive a letter saying what your accommodations are. They will not receive information on what your diagnosis is. We provide accommodations, consultation, also advocacy in times that that's needed. We have an online application. It's easy to use, it's private, and you'll be able to fill in your information and speak with a professional to help you with the process of getting signed up. Additionally, we have a testing center. This is where a majority of our accommodated testing takes place. We have separate testing rooms or adaptive equipment depending on what the accommodation needs are. Other tests are things like Acuplacer and TSI. You may have needed to take one of those. There's CLEP test available. So if you're really great at some of your basics and want to test out of a course, you're able to do that with the CLEP test. We also have our Veterans Resource Center. This is a great resource here on campus for active military, veterans, and dependents within our community. The Veterans Resource Center also helps to process any of your VA education benefits. Additionally, we have our Student Veteran Organization, a very active organization with student leaders. Our veterans also do a lot of peer-to-peer mentoring as well as tutoring and so many other resources. It's really a pipeline of information for all of campus and even community resources. And in a lot of ways has a very USO style office where you can come in and hang out and really receive some great support from other military veterans and dependents. We also have our Student Health and Wellness Office. So this is an office that does a lot of education and prevention related to things like alcohol, tobacco, other drugs, all different types of interpersonal violence situation. In addition, we have advocacy, especially for our interpersonal violence, our Title IX situations. We are able to provide advocates for that. Additionally, we train students to become peer mentors or peer advocates to go out and educate others on campus about these issues.